This is Prep Period, an all-sports podcast by the Ventura County Star and the people at VCS Preps.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Prep Period, the Ventura County Star's All Preps, All Sports podcast. My name is Dominic Massimino. He is Joe Curley. Joe, your head's a little cut off if you want to tilt your camera just a teeny bit up. Perfect. Look at that. Look at us go. Episode 21 of Prep Period. We are here with another exciting episode. We got a fun theme for the episode this week, Joe. But before we jump into it, how you been? How's your week been going? What you been up to?
Great. Enjoyed the long weekend. Slept in a tent, which I don't normally do. So my body's not feeling spry, but my mind is there. Great weekend watching. Yeah, that's right. We'll see. Yeah, I'll have to prove it. But great weekend. Enjoyed some NFL football. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, we've got every week we go to put the show together. Like, what do we got? And we always have way too much.
We have a lot of stuff. It's a good sign that we're not being lazy. Always got a lot of stuff we can talk about, a lot of work that we've done, and also a lot of stuff to talk about just newsworthy wise, because the local players and coaches and programs have been putting on a show this season.
Great success.
My body is also a little banged up, Joe, because as the longtime viewers know, my girlfriend is a very gifted runner, and
better athlete than you.
That's undoubted. She and my dad have talked me into training for another marathon, and it's not going so hot. So say your prayers for me as I try to resurrect my running career over the next couple of months so I can run one with my dad. That's the plan. The theme of today's episode, Joe, is Marmonte League madness. And that is for good reason, because in two of our sports, the two sports that have been the craziest in that league have been girls soccer and boys basketball, two sports that you and I can talk about at length this season. And in our top league locally, there's just been some crazy stuff in the first half of league play. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. We're going to start with boys basketball. We've been following along with these especially these top four teams in the Marmonte League for boys basketball in Oaks Christian, Calabasas, Westlake, and TO. You have, Thousand Oaks starts off the season. We talked about this a little bit the last episode. Starts off the season 16-0 in non-league play, undefeated, the hottest start of any local team. They lose their first three games in the Marmonte League gauntlet. So one of those examples of craziness. Oaks Christian is now 4-1, leading the way in that crazy league. Their one loss comes in this last week to Calabasas, a 2-point loss, and that's a 64-62 loss to Calabasas on January 14th. But they've managed to stay, generally just a head above the rest in the Marmonte League through that crazy first round, in part because they've managed to not, have an upset loss that almost all of these other teams have. Calabasas, that same team to take down Oaks Christian, they've beaten, all of these top teams in league. They've beaten Oaks Christian, they've beaten Thousand Oaks, they've beaten Westlake. But they have two losses, and their two losses are to Agora and to Newbury Park, two teams that are right around 500 on the year. So just total craziness there. They're both very close games. One goes to OT, the other is I believe another 2-point loss or 4-point loss. So absolute madness there. You'll have to go check out this coming week's team rankings to see kind of how we've determined, all of this madness to affect, how we want to rank these teams. But yeah, Oaks Christian continues to be in the driver's seat right now, having only one loss, that loss to Calabasas. And yeah, Westlake and Calabasas are right behind at 3-2. And then Thousand Oaks, who, like we were just talking about, suffers those 3 losses to start Marmonte League play. They need to kind of get back on the front foot. They get wins over Agora and Newbury Park last week to, get back to 2-3 in league. And they're chasing that third auto qualifying spot for the playoffs out of this league. They're going to need to kind of turn things up in this, the second half of Marmonte League action if they want to get that auto qualifying spot. And then, the last kind of question just from this past week is, can 2-3 Agora come back and sneak into that, that hunt for the third spot? They're still just 1 game back of Westlake and Calabasas, who are both 3-2 in second and third in the league. Thanks to that upset win over Calabasas, 58-57 on the 16th of January. So just some craziness, Joe.
I mean, these are the league races that are truly memorable, that are truly fun. I was putting in last year or the falls. I was updating our football standings, and I was noticing. I was like, there's got to be a name for the standings where it's like 7-0, 6-1, 5-2, where it's like a step ladder where everybody is like clearly defined. And then when you have a league season like this, where there's going to be, there's no undefeated team, there's multiple, you may have a champion with multiple losses. Like that's when you have a fun January and February, when every week, every round, every weekday, every weekend, the game is important. And so I think, we called it madness. It's a joyful type of madness that, when you have a race like this, when everybody is involved and everybody can affect each other, and it's going to go down to the wire, which is why we pay attention.
Yeah. Got to give credit to both Agora and Newbury Park, the 2 teams that we were kind of expecting going into league to be, battling out there near the bottom of the standings, and they both, come up and take down Calabasas, one of these, really, really, really strong teams. One of the teams projected to be, one of our highest, ranked teams going into the playoffs should they make it in the CIF Southern Section computer rankings. They both get clutch, very competitive, very narrow wins over that team. Pretty awesome. Congrats to Coach Jordan Jamestown in his first season over at Newbury Park. Getting that win, and as he's kind of setting up shop over there. But yeah, some madness for sure.
Well, it had been a couple of years since Westlake had a league win, or since Newbury Park had a league win. So, they certainly look like they're a program heading up after a couple of rough seasons. And Marmonte League basketball, on the boys' side, is always super competitive. Has several of our better programs. So looking forward to seeing how sports in the how basketball in the Canal Valley looks going forward here as we get toward the playoffs.
Yeah. And, the Marmonte League's not the only place there's been a little bit of madness on the boys basketball side of things. Quick check-in over in the Coastal Canyon League race. Oak Park, jumps into the driver's seat in that race by taking down both Moore Park and Camarillo, 2 of the top teams in that league last week. They take down, in the win over the Musketeers, they hold the Star's number 1 ranked boys basketball player, Logan Stotts, to just 8 points in a tight win there. And then they take down Camarillo by 15 points just the very next game. So big week for Oak Park. Santa Paula down to Pacifica in a non-league win this past week. They are now 7-0 after this week's slate of games. This past week's slate of games, they're 7-0 in Citrus Coast League play. And that is thanks to Derry Eads. The second most wins so far. Their 17 wins on the season are the second most since the 1997-98 season. So doing big things over there at Santa Paula. And then just a little peek into the future of these team rankings this week. Pacifica is going to be ranked this week for the first time. Despite that loss to Santa Paula, they're starting to make some waves, in the middle of that Channel League race. Getting the win over Dos Pueblos, a very, very close loss to one of our best local teams in San Marcos, and then scoring an OT victory by 1 point over Rio Mesa. So some exciting stuff happening all over the county in boys basketball, Joe.
All right, so I see your boys basketball madness. I'm going to raise you girls soccer madness.
Let's do it.
It's safe to say Marmonte League is one of the best uh, girls soccer leagues in Southern California, in the state, perhaps the country. Um, we had Oaks Christian in the Open Division last year, in CIF Southern Section Open Division playoffs. You had Thousand Oaks make a CIF final. You had Westlake in the Division One semis. Newbury Park is traditionally a really strong team. Agura has had some strong teams recently. So you come into this year and it's, well, Oaks Christian is one of the top programs in Southern California. Westlake's got a dynamic group back. Thousand Oaks has Westlake and Thousand Oaks have multiple Division One players, and Newbury's showed they were kind of on the up and up last year, and then the Panthers started super strong. I think they were number one in my initial girls soccer rankings last week at 9-1. I think they were 7-0 against local teams, and then it shows you just how competitive. They had previously beaten Oaks Christian. I think it was Oaks Christian's first loss in regular season at home in years, but Newbury went 0-2 last week. Westlake got them 2-1. KK Chawana and Grace Wetzel, who are two of the Division One players for Westlake, scored goals to beat Newbury 2-1 in that first place showdown. They were both 3-0 at the time in Marmonte League play. Addison Carr got the goal for the Panthers, and then TO, who had started kind of slowly this year, considering their talent because of some injuries and some sickness, they got Lucci Shattuck back, and she and Maddie Linville both scored on Saturday. They had a cool TO Newbury Park kind of quadruple header where they played frosh off and varsity boys and girls soccer on Saturday. And TO got Newbury. So Newbury basically lost 2 road games, 2-1 last week, and they went from first to fourth. Westlake right now is in first at 4-1. Oaks Christian, who had some struggles after reaching the final of the Best of the West tournament last month, they're now right back where they needed to be, kind of within a half game of first place. And TO and Newbury are tied at third at 3-2. So you've got basically 4 teams all in the top 30 in the CIF Southern Section ratings. So all potential Open Division or Division One teams, all within a game of each other at the midway point of the race. So
Madness.
That's going to be really good. Kind of, once again, you got to track there's so many good teams in that league that you have to track every game week. Oaks is ranked number 3 in Southern California, or in the Southern Section. Moore Park, who's the Coastal Canyon League defending champions, they're 7th, so they're a potential Open Division team. Westlake is 10th, another potential Open Division team. TO and Newbury are 27 and 28. So there's 5 local teams in the top 28 in the section. So we could have potentially multiple Open Division teams. We could have multiple Division One teams. And like I said, Westlake reached the semifinals of Division One last year. So anyway, and I also should mention that Oaks Christian then came back on Friday night and beat Westlake to hand Westlake their first loss in league. Johnny Kirosh and Lauren Guyton scored those goals. Heidi Lindis with the clean sheet. Oaks Christian had an injury in goal, and I guess they're getting their starting keeper back going forward. So check out all, if you need that summarized, my soccer ranking should be up relatively soon, and obviously it'll be Marmonte League heavy on the girls' side.
Love it. I see we have the Deuces stat of the week here, but I actually would like to save it for. I'm thinking now. I'd like to save it for the beginning of third period
Okay.
because it'll be the perfect segue into third
let's
period
do
for
that.
us. So in the meantime, just want to plug. Recap our previous Reader's Choice poll for the boys basketball side of things. Thank you to everybody who participated. It did super well on the site. Love to see everybody, supporting their players, their, favorite players out there. Credit to Andrew Logan of Oaks Christian, who won the poll with 30.33% of the vote. 6'8" forward, is averaging 10.2 points, 7.2 rebounds, and a monster 2.3 blocks per game for the Lions. And it's not the only poll that we got. One is ending, another is beginning.
Right.
We got the girls basketball player poll going live later today. Go check that out. Go vote in it. I want to see who all the readers think. Having done all my work to rank these players, which again, you should all go check out those player rankings on the site right now. I want to know what you guys think. So go vote for your favorite players in that girls basketball player poll coming up.
All right, this week's Ventura Orthopedic Athletes of the Week: Hermelinda Osiguera, Fillmore sophomore in girls basketball, 5'10" sophomore, racked up the rebounds and the points in 3 games last week for the Flashes. On Monday, she had a double-double with 11 points and 20 rebounds with 5 assists, 4 steals, and a block at a 49-41 loss to Carpinteria. Osiguera had 8 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, 3. Wow, filling up the stat sheet. 3 blocks in a 53-19 win over Del Sol. Closed out the week with a remarkable individual performance: 24 points, 27 rebounds, 10 offensive, plus 6 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks in a 49-41 victory over Carp. So she had 24 of their 49 points. She's now averaging 9, 13, 5, 3, and 1.5 for the Flashes, who are 11-8 overall, 4-2 in the Citrus League. Hillcrest Christian Jr. Caleb Kerner is the boys athlete of the week. Junior guard had a record-setting performance, scoring 113 points over 3 games last week for Saints. While John got out the calculator for that one. Kerner single game program record, 42 points in a 82-54 win over Ojai Valley in the Omega League. Double-double, 36 and 10 in a 71-57 win over Beacon Hill. On Thursday, Kerner finished the week with 35 and an 83-55 win over Fulton in a non-league game Saturday. Wow. Dom, that's like you and it's like you in over at West Park, right?
No, unfortunately, no. If any of my my former men's league teammates hear you talking like that, they're going to be laughing into their computer screens.
Jack knocked down some shots this week. He no longer wants to go to the basket. He's now settling for 15-foot jumpers, which
I'm sure
means his coaches yelling at him. All right, speaking of coaches, Westlake girls soccer coach Frank Marino has coached at Westlake High School for almost 30 years. He's been the varsity coach for 27 years. Previously was also an assistant there. He's also, we have to make sure we mention, coached Cal Lutheran University to the 2023 NCAA Division III Women's Soccer National Championship. So he's got rings upon rings. Coach, welcome. Appreciate you. Oh, and you get the get some CLU.
Sorry, I can blur. I can blur.
No, that's great. Oh, sure. Is there some sort of trophy, or is there? Is there something with the national championship?
These are pictures from the final game here behind me.
Yeah.
Trophy wise, I got the little version right here in the office.
Look at that.
So there's your
got the
there's
hardware.
your little trophy that's here. So that's in here, but yeah, all good, all good. We don't want to fail to mention we did win a CIF title in 2003. I know it was a long time ago, but Westlake has a girls soccer division CIF championship. So they're not too shabby themselves either.
No, you guys obviously have a tradition of success at Westlake, and obviously, I covered I think the quarterfinal and the semifinal last year.
Mm-hmm.
It took PKs to eliminate you last year. This year, a lot of those same star players back. San Diego State commit KK Chawana, Oregon State commit Grace Wetzel. Sierra Spencer has been a fantastic goalie for you. Um, what do we need to know about the Warriors so far this year? And then we'll talk about the league itself.
I think one of the great things has been we got off to a better start than last year. I think we dug ourselves a hole early in the season last year and then came on really late in the season and played really well like the last 3 weeks. We've played well throughout the season for the most part. One loss early to Moore Park, but really love our group. As you said, we returned 3 really big time players for us, and our goalkeeper Sierra Spencer, KK Chawana, our attacking mid, and Grace Wetzel, our center forward, all have had just they're our captains. They just had a great impact so far in the season. But you sprinkle in some, great freshmen that we have in this year. Haley Johnson at right back, Declan Dritz at center back, Shania Brooks up top before she got injured against Newbury the other night. They've had a major impact on the team as well. So, I mean, and I know I'm missing a few others. Sam Bateman, Mia Pappas have all played really well for us. I'm super happy with where we're at. I think we've had a great start to the season. A little bummed about the result on Friday, but I thought we were really competitive. They made 2 really good plays, scored 2 really good goals. We had a couple good chances in the game that just didn't go for us, but tough at the end of a week. It was a 3-game week. We had two hard games on Monday and Wednesday with TO Newbury, and I think we just kind of ran out of gas on Friday.
They being Oaks Christian.
Oaks Christian, yeah. And they're so talented, Joe. I mean, the bottom line is they've got a ton of talent, and you knew at some point they were going to start to play a little bit better than they had played early in the season.
I mean, that's why, them giving the rest of the, you guys in Newbury like that 4-point head start. It's kind of what makes it, elite. You're talking about a team that has been, an open division team for, I think, 3 straight years. And you've got, Kirosh back and Pfeiffer and, that whole group, I'm sure, a difficult team to deal with. But I mean, you have 3 decades of experience in this league. Is this, as deep as this league has been on the top, as top heavy, well, I don't want to call it top heavy, but like, with 4 elite teams, kind of all competing, is this I think a league race that you're going to remember?
Yeah, I do. I just think anybody can beat anybody on any given night. I mean, even, if you look at the 2 bottom teams in the standing, Agora Calabasas, they're improved from even last year. Agora got a result against Oaks Christian. They played each other to 1-0 the other night. They've been very competitive in their games, but the top half is really good. You look at the amount of talent on these teams that's out there. It says a lot. You've got Newbury's got, couple really good goalkeepers. They've got Reese. You look at TO, they've got the Shattuck twins and Morgan Humphrey and Maddie Linville. Oaks, as you mentioned, some of their players, they're loaded with players. So I mean, you look at just the amount of talent within the league, and it's a lot to deal with every single night. Like I don't know, weird scheduling, but we get Newbury like 2 games later, so we're back to have to play them tonight, and we'll see what we can do. We got to respawn from our loss on Friday, and hopefully we'll have a good game tonight.
Yeah, Newbury was kind of the story early because, I think they were 7-0 against local teams and, got that really rare win against Oaks. What do you see from them going into this game tonight, the result of which will probably be on Twitter by the time people watch this?
Well, I think
Good context.
I mentioned they strong goalkeeping. They've got Reese, they've got Peyton Machad up top who scored quite a few goals early in the season. They're really good. They were really good the other night on free kicks and set pieces and corners. So we have to do a better job of dealing with those things. I think we created a lot of chances in the game the other night. Would have liked to put away a few more, gave up one off a set piece. So we have to do better there. If we can do better there, I think we got a good chance of winning the game. But they have grit and blue collar. They have a great energy about them, and it's going to be a tough game.
That one thing I should give context. we haven't really mentioned this in the paper itself, but all three Conejo Valley school district teams are the football field or the stadium fields are being renovated right now. So none of those programs, boys or girls, have varsity or frosh have access to their normal facilities. So you're talking about
Crazy.
in a year of upheaval, a season of upheaval, all this success is happening. And part of what is making it, not seamless, but helpful is that obviously CLU, Westlake's playing their games there, and I know TO and Newbury have had the opportunity to play at CLU. Also, just how are you guys doing this, in what is a difficult season? There's just, there's always something, but that's a particularly big thing when you don't have your home right now.
Yeah, last year was all the wind and rain, right? We had a ton of wind and
True.
rain issues last
The
year.
wind was crazy.
It was crazy. And we had a game even canceled because of the wind last year. So, I mean, it's every year seems to be something. It's the nature of being a winter sport, I think. Obviously, we're excited to get a brand new field at all these schools in the district. So I think from a positive standpoint, it's great. The timing of it wasn't perfect. But there's been some cool things about it. Like tonight's a doubleheader. We're going to play at 6 against the girls team, and then the boys team plays after us. So it's kind of added this element that I think is super cool for fans. Some of the players are staying around, or they're either coming early to watch the game before or watch the game after. So we've pretty much been doing varsity doubleheaders all league, and I think it's really added great atmosphere to the crowd, and for the players to play on a really nice normal size soccer field helps. One of the things with our normal fields are great, but they are narrower than standard soccer fields. They are, Westlake is 10 degrees more narrow than Cal Lutheran's field is. So we have a lot more space to play in, and I think for everybody that's a good thing. I also think it's better for injuries. One of the reasons injuries sometimes are higher in high school is because there's more contact, there's more fouls because the fields are tighter. So there's more aerial duels, and there's more defending in tighter spaces. So I think in some ways it's been nice, convenient for me. I can walk out of my office here and go downstairs and work. Which has helped all of us, but saved me some miles on the gas in the car, I guess. But, just happy that the players have a place to play that is giving a good experience and great vibe and atmosphere.
Yeah, and that facility at Roland is a, pro style facility with the, the renovations that the Galaxy / Ventura County FC did there. And so you've got a very, it's an opportunity for the kids to play on, a FIFA quality surface. And so that's cool. And then, we also have the opportunity to have, you guys haven't played in the Open yet, right? Open's only been around a couple of years.
Right.
That like Champions League style Open.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there at, I don't know if you probably haven't even seen it.
I haven't even looked.
The rankings just came out and you guys are now up to 10.
Yikes.
So you're kind of there on the cusp a little bit. Can we get you?
I love an honest reaction, Coach. That's the best.
Yeah, you had a great, you had a great performance in Division I last year. What are your emotions about potentially being an Open Division team versus, maybe being a high seed in Division I?
Well, we were the last seed in Division I last year, and it didn't seem to deter us from being successful. On the flip side, I mean, yeah, I think obviously being an Open be a cool experience. On the flip side, being at the top of Division I would probably give us a better advantage than we had to deal with last year with going to JSerra to start the season and traveling all over the place early in the postseason. We'll take whatever we earn and do the best we can with it. I think either way, I'm not one that gets overly carried away with where we finish and what happens there. I always tell them if we have a good season, when we get to the playoffs, anything can happen. I think we've shown that the last 3 or 4 years. No matter where we finished in our league, whether it's been second or third or first and 22, we've made pretty good runs in the playoffs. I think we haven't not been past, at least a second or third round in every year the last 4 or 5 years. So, to me, it doesn't matter whether it's Open, Division I, Division II. As long as we get there and get a chance to compete, that's all you can ask for. Maybe we can get better at the PKs to stop getting eliminated, but that's a different story.
I think, yeah, you'll have some confidence with Sierra back there,
Yes.
if you go to a shootout. But, you could put me down for Oaks going up to 2 and you guys getting up to 7. And then maybe we get an Oaks Christian Westlake home and home Champions League style tie. I'll take that. That would be fun.
That would good. That would be good for the local community for sure. It would be fun. It would be fun.
Yeah. Sebi would probably take not having to play Santa Margarita again. That's it.
Oh,
I'm sure that.
I think he'd be happy to play us twice. I don't think he'd complain about that.
Referencing Sebastian Alvarado, the Oaks Christian coach. All right. So anyway, I really appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on. And again, if we post this before tonight, which we won't, I'll probably tweet out Westlake, Newbury Park. Where's that game tonight?
Here at Kalu, 6 p.m.
All right.
Then the boys game follows. So it'll be a good night here.
All right. Maybe I'll skip flag football practice and head over there.
Get out there, Joe.
That'd be great.
There you go. There you go.
Got to get out there. All right. Well, I appreciate it, Coach.
Anytime, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Dom, nice meeting you.
Great meeting
Joe,
you,
always
Coach.
good to see you. Start of the second half. Let's see where it goes.
Be out there soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
Frankie.
Have a good
Coach
one.
Marino.
Yeah, no, you're good. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
Later.
Got me fired up for the soccer, man. Got me super fired up.
Here we go. All right. So it's inside out now. Now we're going to talk about work that you have done and work I need to finish this week. Because third period is talking about our girls basketball player rankings. We talked about boys basketball last week. But let's just jump into it. You did all this work. Who, in your opinion, is the number one player locally for girls basketball this year so far?
Yeah, you can go follow along right now if you're watching live. You can go pull up the story on the site.
That's what I'm doing.
The number one ranked player, according to the Star, at this point in the season is Ventura High senior guard Kai Stanland. She was our player of the year last season, and she is picked up right where she left off. 5'7", Point Loma Nazarene University commit. She's set a lot of records this season. So if you remember from last episode, I got a little confused on one of them, and you can't blame me because she set a lot of records. She has already become Ventura High's all-time leading scorer, all-time leader in assists, all-time leader in three-pointers, and she is currently locked in a battle with Camarillo High senior Danny Rocha to decide who's going to be the county's all-time leader in three-pointers. As of publication, she was averaging 23.6 points a game, 5.7 assists, and 3 rebounds a night. Those numbers in particular, the scoring and assist numbers, are jaw-dropping because she's leading the county in assists, and she's one of the top scorers, if not the top scorer in the county, depending on the week. Just impacting the game in so many ways. When defenses collapse on her, she always makes the right pass. She always gets her teammates involved. And when she's given the opportunity to go take somebody one-on-one, she always generates efficient offense. So just an incredible player. And I think, to sort of nip in the bud, the comparison-wise thing, because there are so many players that are really, really close to that number one spot. I think there's a lot to be said about what Kai has done at Ventura High. She's got a great team around her. Everybody knows their role. You have a burgeoning star in Brinley Anderson, who we'll talk about later in this segment, a really talented forward. But this isn't a super team at Ventura High. She lifts the ability of all of her teammates on that team. Lifted them last year all the way to the Division I, playoffs. Just a player who truly kind of raises the ceiling of that program. So that's number one for us, Joe.
All right, number two, familiar first name, new last name.
New last name. As we discussed last time, Charisma Lewis, now Charisma Flores, senior at Oak Park, transferred in from Buena this offseason. Simply put, the most dynamic scorer I have ever seen at the high school level in girls basketball. a player who is so skilled in getting to her spots and finding, the shots that are high percentage for her. She does things that, frankly, you don't see a lot of boys basketball players doing efficiently, effectively. You don't see that many college basketball players doing efficiently and effectively, shooting off the dribble, getting to the rim. She is scoring, her numbers have gone down a little bit with so much talent on this Oak Park team. She's been able to kind of take a little bit of a step back on offense. She's averaging 16.3 points per game, pulling down 4.9 boards and grabbing 2.4 steals. That's the point I'd really like to kind of hammer, is just how much better her defense has been in this Oak Park system since transferring. She's been kind of sort of unleashed as a defensive player to just go and, harry opposing teams, ball handlers, use those long arms to, ignite the fast break with steals and deflections. Really, really impressive. 5'10" wing. She's going to UC Santa Barbara next season. And this is
for Renee Jimenez, Ventura High grad.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Yeah. No, thank you for hopping in with that. And this is the perfect time to bring in the Deuces stat of the week.
I was going to remind you.
Exactly. So our number 1 and number 2 ranked players right now fit into, the ongoing, history making of scorers, girls basketball scorers in Ventura County. There have been 4 players in the history of the sport in Ventura County with 2,000 career points. Charisma Flores and Kai Stanland will be joining that club this season very soon. Flores is at 1,960 points right now, and Kai Stanland is at 1,949, just 11 points behind. So another one of those races involving Stanland, and a record. Joe, you want to tell us who the 4 girls basketball players in Ventura County history to have reached that 2,000 point mark are?
Yeah, those of you who have followed sports in Ventura County will know all these names. Those of you that follow the Olympics will know the first one, Marion Jones of Rio Mesa and Thousand Oaks High in the late 80s, early 90s. Still arguably the best athlete in the history of California women's sports. 2005 points. Kelly Greathouse of Buena, part of the fantastic Buena team of the turn of the millennium. She also had 2005 in 4 years, 114 games. That's from 97 to 2001. Buena with Greathouse, Courtney Levere, and Courtney Young were the number 1 team in the nation that season as seniors, I believe it was in 2000 or 20 and 2001. This next one you'll know, Gabriela Jaquez, 2,425 points. She only played 100 games in 4 years at Camarillo High from as a senior in 2022. Obviously, she's in the middle of a phenomenal senior year for the Bruins, one of the top teams in the nation. They made the Final Four last year. Her brother can also play basketball, apparently. Several brothers can play basketball, apparently. And then Michelle Palmisano of Thousand Oaks High has the Ventura County record at 2,796, 2,796. That was from 1988 to 1992. She played 119 games in her 4 seasons. So all phenomenal players, all some of the best basketball players in the history of Southern California.
Yeah. So, to look at this leaderboard, the Kelly Greathouse and Marion Jones tied at number 3 all time with 2,005 points. That's the mark that, Stanland and Flores are rapidly approaching. I think it'd be pretty tough to catch Gabriela Jaquez. Once you reach that 2,000 point mark, you got 425 more points to score. Just a few more games still to play here in league, and then all of the playoffs. I don't want to put it out of, say it's necessarily out of reach, but at the very least, you have the possibility of those 2 players who have played club together, who have a a great relationship on and off the court. Always fun, getting to watch them play. Are likely to be our number 3 and number 4 all-time Ventura County leading scorers. That's a pretty awesome thing. And as a couple of reporters, pretty awesome for us to get to witness and write about.
So those 4, the 4 2,000-point scorers, that's UCLA, North Carolina State, I think was Great House, and North Carolina for Marion Jones. So they all went on and played at the next level.
Pretty awesome. Let's jump back in, move to number 3 in our player rankings is another Oak Park player, back-to-back in these rankings. If you needed any more indication as to Oak Park being a super team, as I've described them, look no further than this right here. Maya Deschâtel, junior forward, one of the more versatile players I've seen play the game. 5'10", she's a grab and go threat. She's an incredible rebounder, averaging 7.4 a night to go along with her 15.1 points. She's a threat to just pull down the ball and just go coast to coast and score on you. She has kind of all those things that you look for in a modern basketball player in terms of length, defensive tenacity. She can handle the ball, she can shoot it, she can do a little bit of everything. So scheming against her is extremely difficult. She had 25 and 10 in a win over Canyon, 20, 10 and 6 assists in a win over in a game against Sage Hill. And she's got a number of D1 offers. So she's sort of the part of the two-headed monster there, for opposing defenses, playing Oak Park in 2 5'10", super dynamic 5'10" forwards in Deschâtel and Flores. And she comes in at number 3. Number 4 is last year's Ventura County Basketball Coaches Association Small School Player of the Year, Sarah Casillo. A really, really gifted player who I'm actually, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm writing a little bit about right now because she had a quadruple double the other night.
Whoa!
In a win over, it's like, dude, my job this year is just writing about like absurd girls basketball performances with her and Livy Elscary setting that national record for steals in a game.
I know.
Has a quadruple double in a win over Foothill Tech. Talking to Coach D. Pinkard, she almost had a triple-double at halftime.
Wow.
She's a point guard who does a little bit of everything, has this crazy wingspan that makes her a steal and block, a stocks queen at St. Bonaventure, and sets up her teammates, growing as a three-point shooter. She does it all. She reached the 1,000-point mark for her career in December of this season, and we get another year of her, watching her play. So, great player there. Number 5 is our second double in our top 5. Our second, 2 players from the same team is junior, 6'1" junior forward Brinley Anderson from Ventura. So you have kind of these two player led teams in Ventura and Oak Park. Probably the most physically dominant player in the area. She's averaging 15.9 points, 9.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals, and over a block a game. Super aggressive rebounder. She's become kind of an offensive hub for Ventura when they're not working through Stanland, throwing her the ball in the mid-post and letting her kind of either isolate or kick out to a shooter. She had 20 points, 15 boards, and 5 assists in a 1-point loss to Kenwood December 29th. Have you ever gotten to see Brinley Anderson play? Have you seen a?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I covered some Ventura playoff games recently. Yeah,
just a very, very impressive player. And
she's pretty smooth for being so big too.
She is.
6'1", right?
She's 6'1".
Yeah.
She's one of there's kind of a crop of players of that kind of archetype right now on the girls basketball side. The like skilled forwards, like who are bigger and stronger than everybody else, and also in a lot of cases more skilled than everybody else, which is a winning combination. At number 6, we have Camarillo High sharpshooter, the senior we mentioned earlier in that race for the county 3-point record with Kai Stanland is Danny Rocha Betancourt. She went from being, I wrote about Danny last season as being one of these kind of quintessential perfect role players. She's an incredible shooter. She cuts great. She's always in the right spot. Good team defender. She's evolved from being that perfect role player to being a bona fide star this season. She's almost doubled her scoring. She's pouring in 19.4 points per game, with the vast majority of those points coming from behind the 3-point line. At the time of this this being published, she'd knocked in 85 3-pointers on the season already. A big part of their offensive game plan is just running her off screens, getting her open, and kind of forcing the defense to adjust to where she is behind the 3-point line. Number 7 is Oaks Christian point guard Presley Kushner. Had a pretty incredible start to the season so far. A pure scorer. She gets other teammates involved by putting the pressure on the defense, you know what I mean, and forcing them to change the way that they are guarding the Lions. She's up to 22 points per game this season, second in the region behind only Kai Stanland. Had 29 points twice this season, once in a win over Louisville and once in a loss to Village Christian. So just somebody who's filling up the stat sheet in points and also assists as well. And number 8 is another talented guard. Lots of gifted guards in this top 10. Sophomore guard, probably the breakout player of the year candidate in Netta Carendish. She's doubled her offensive output. Another player who's really leveled up this season. Doubled her offensive output from last year, scoring 21.5 points per game. She's one of only 6 local players who's above 20 points per game scoring. She's pulling down 6.8 rebounds and is averaging 4.5 steals a night. Had 31 in a win over El Camino Real and 25 in back-to-back wins over Santa Paula and Pacifica. She's been, there's a lot of talented players on that Newbury Park team. London Leffler, Greta Heath, those multi-sport stars, but they've now kind of found their number one in this sophomore guard. And then a player that we talked about last week, I believe, because it was one of our
she was athlete of the week.
Athletes of the week. Yeah, talking about a crazy stat line last week is Westlake High guard Madison McDonald, another Westlake High guard who's been doing crazy things, but this time kind of more on the offensive end. Really rapidly developing talent, transferred from Harvard Westlake after her freshman season. This Westlake system has kind of gone from being the forward focused scheme of last year with Taylor Swanson and Mathis Dritz, and now it's a lot of weight on the shoulders of their talented guards. She had 32 in a 51-34 win over Agora and a career high 34 in a 54-48 win over Newbury Park. So in those big time league games, she has come up big for Westlake. She's averaging 21.9 points per game. And then last but not least, a player that I am really, really itching to see in person, because the numbers you see on the stat sheet really just jump off the page. Jaylene Hughes of Calabasas. She came in this season, I believe, is the sister of a transfer on the boys' side of things as well. Another basketball talent in that Hughes family. Dropped 40 points on November 22nd and had 12 three-pointers in that win. She's averaging 16.4 points per game. She went up against Livy Elsakari of Westlake, who we've been talking a lot about, and had 20 points, against a really terrific guard defender. She's got a couple of D1 offers. She also had a quadruple double in a recent game. Wow. Two of those players doing crazy, crazy stuff. And that's our top 10. But you can go and check out our top 40.
Check out the rest. Yeah, the one thing that's sticking out to me is just how many of these names I know from flag football and some other sports. I mean, we've got some great, obviously, like the top 10 is full of kind of basketball first athletes, but the rest is some big time athletes who played multiple sports, who are really good at other sports as well. And so, check out the rest. Some of them are one question I want to ask you as I look at this,
please,
is obviously the big news so far of the girls basketball season has been, like we said, all the records. Livy Elsakari does what she does, setting the national record for steals in a game. How hard was it to rank someone like that, when she's already achieved something that, you know, very few athletes ever get a chance to achieve, and she's only a sophomore, and just yeah, just a little
Yeah.
something on how you figured out where to put Livy.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, so for what it's worth, Livy Else-Carey is ranked number 19 in these rankings, in the top 40 rankings. I think, I mean, there is definitely, defense is weighted very, very highly in these rankings.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about doing a top defenders in the area rankings, because you would get a lot of,
Nice.
you'd have
Just do that.
a lot of these players from the top 40 are in these rankings because of their two-way impact, or because just they're phenomenal defenders. Take, for instance, Oak Park, the transfer in to Oak Park, Diana Sarando, who's in these rankings, she's kind of completely transformed the way that Oak Park defends. Livy Else-Carey, as we wrote about in her in the feature that we did on her for that national steals record, we learned that Westlake has completely changed the way that they defend because they have a Livy Else-Carey on their team. I think that what you will see if you look through most of the top 10 rankings is that most of those players are the offensive engine of their team. We sort of talked about this in the boys rankings as well. Why Logan Stotts was ranked number 1 in those rankings. It's a similar kind of thing. A player who, not necessarily only on offense, but who definitely on offense sort of stirs the drink, if you will, like allows, everything else, that's positive on the offensive side of the ball to happen, is, I think, an extremely, extremely valuable thing. And most of those players are good team defenders as well, if not one-on-one stoppers. But yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of part of it there. And then also, with a player like Livy, who's, doing those incredible, probably once in many lifetime, feats, setting that national steals record, is also a player who's still very much developing in other parts of her game. So we'll kind of see where she grows from there. I think just looking at Westlake and the things that they have emphasized, there's a lot of room for her to sort of explore the studio space as a player and grow in many offensive aspects as well.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see where, what else Carey plays at the next level. She's already one of the best flag football players in Southern California. She obviously has got to be one of the better defenders basketball-wise in Southern California. So where does that take her? She has length. There's not, if she's able to develop the offensive part of her game, she could be a Division I basketball player.
Yeah. Yeah, talking to Coach
Um,
Josh Budd over there at Westlake, he said, one of the biggest challenges for him this season has been getting her to be more assertive offensively. Because, I mean, Joe, I know you watched the tape from that Santa Barbara game. You're looking for the steals, but you also see like some flashes of great offensive potential. Just getting by her defender and straight to the rim. Making some pretty high level passing reads to her teammates and stuff. And yeah, coach said, getting her to shoot the open threes when she has the ball is tough because she's so focused on both defense and getting her teammates involved, finding, the best shot on the court. So that's something I think we may see in the coming games, the coming weeks, the coming seasons for Livy, is kind of growing in that offensive capacity.
all right, let us move on now to the fourth period. Fourth period is just going to be a quick check-in with some of our local products who were very busy over the weekend playing in the NFL playoffs.
Kind of makes
We've
me feel bad
mentioned
for complaining about how our bodies feel. I can't imagine
Yeah.
how these guys are.
That's right. Training for I'm
Ouchie.
sure they're all in the training room right now getting ready for what they can do. So I wanted to mention Alex Singleton, the Denver linebacker from Thousand Oaks High, already has had just an unbelievable, very memorable season with the number 1 seeded AFC team, the Denver Broncos. He had 14 tackles and a forced fumble in the Broncos' 33-30 overtime win over Buffalo. which I'm sure many of you saw. So Singleton ended up with 135 tackles in the regular season, which was 13th in the NFL. Despite he missed one game, as we've mentioned before on this show. He returned 3 weeks after cancer surgery earlier this year, which just unbelievable. And never mind the fact that this is his first full season after returning from ACL reconstruction. And he's just, such an important player for the Broncos because, he's not only, really good in the run game, but he's, as a linebacker, really good in pass coverage. And he's kind of this new style linebacker that, not as big as those old run stuffers from a generation ago, but somebody who can, who can, play in both the run and the pass game in the modern NFL. Obviously, former CFL Defensive Player of the Year, which is how he got his first shot in the NFL or second shot in the NFL with the Eagles. Went from the Eagles to Niners to Denver. But anyway, on also somebody who, we have to mention, both of us have covered his camp in the summer. He comes back to Thousand Oaks High, offers a camp for the community every year, which is so cool to see. To not only, he's also somebody I will never forget during COVID coming back and coaching his alma mater with Evan Yabu, back when they were just rebuilding that Thousand Oaks program. He was the defensive coordinator. Sometimes I think he helped him from afar. So Alex Singleton, somebody who is a name that everyone associated with local football should know now and will know in the future. So just wanted to make sure we mentioned him today on after such a big playoff game. They will obviously host the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game on Sunday. I think it's the early game.
We got to tune in.
And then Colby Parkinson, the former Simi Valley native, Oaks Christian star, former Stanford tight end. He had 3 catches and 56 yards in the Rams 20-17 overtime win over Chicago. Made a huge play to set up, one of their big drives, catch and run, and his biggest play of the playoffs. The Rams were playing in Chicago over the weekend, beating Chicago 20-17 in overtime, partly because Parkinson made a 19-yard catch in the final minute of their comeback win over Carolina in the wild card round. So Parkinson, who I think former Seahawk, is in a couple years now back home with the Rams. 43 catches for 408 yards. He had 8 touchdowns in the regular season this year. So he's pretty close to a double-digit touchdown season when you include the playoffs. And the Rams obviously are going up to Seattle to play the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. So we will have locals in both NFL conference championship games this weekend. We also should mention the unfortunate news of Zach Charbonnet, the Seahawks running back, Camarillo native, Oaks Christian star. He had 20 yards on 5 carries in Seattle's 41-6 win over the Niners before suffering a season-ending knee injury. He had a fantastic year with that kind of multi-headed backfield that the Seahawks have. 184 attempts, carries, 730 yards, 12 touchdowns. He also had another 150 yards receiving. So getting close to 1,000 yards in the regular season there. But obviously Charbonnet has not a long road back, but suffering a potential ACL tear there. He can get inspired by what Singleton did just last year, coming back better than ever. But phenomenal season for the former UCLA running back, Zach Charbonnet. So, we'll see. We've had the last couple Super Bowls with the Chiefs run with Jalen Watson. We've had a local playing in the Super Bowl. for, I think every Super Bowl recently in the last 5, 6 years. So we'll see if Denver or the Rams are able to move on. We will once again have a local connection at Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco, which is next month in this state.
Boom. Well done. Good job, Joe. I think that's all we have today. I'm going to quickly plug a story we didn't talk about. I checked in with Royal Girls Basketball on their crazy turnaround. They go from, I think, a total of 8 wins over the last 3 seasons to being 15-6 already this year. They pick up a big win over rival Simi. Checked in with them. Just learned a little bit about what's been behind that change,
right.
That turnaround. It was a fun story to write, so go check that out on the site. Go check out those girls basketball rankings that we teased today, and go vote. Maybe read the story first, get a little background info, and then go vote in the girls basketball player poll, which will be dropping later today if it's not up already.
By the time this is posted,
it'll be up, right,
so.
right, of course. Anything else, Joe? Anything you want to plug real quick before we go?
No, just stay tuned for boys soccer and girls soccer, our rankings, and then we'll have opportunity polls for those. We'll also hopefully get to the wrestlings and polo. So as winter season rolls on, we've got a couple weeks left before we hit CIF playoffs. But just ramping up here as we go down the stretch. We'll be covering all these races. So make sure you follow VCS Preps on your favorite social media. And then make sure, actually, while you're doing, those of you on TikTok, go and follow, because we'll be unveiling some TikTok video real soon.
And if you are watching live right now or listening, if you made it all the way to the end of the show, you must be enjoying what we have to talk about. Do us a favor and go ahead and like the show and subscribe wherever you are watching. If it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, leave us a comment saying how much fun you had, or if there's anything else you want us to talk about. Awesome, guys. Until next time.
Have a good week.
It comes down to this for Thousand Oaks in their season. It is a gift to Martin. Martin gets the first down and more. It's a nice little screen to the left-hand side. One play, and see ya later. Caldera dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Oxnard. What a fitting way to end that run. He's at the 40. He's at the 20. 10, 5, touchdown.